Hello.
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 How art thou?
I'm fine. How are you?
Well, welcome to God Chat, everyone.
Yeah, welcome, welcome. Here we
We are
are.
your hosts, Chris and Diana,
hmm
and we have come to talk about God. If you're wanting to talk about God, that's what we're here for. Uh, so, how are you doing, really?
I'm doing okay. I'm trying to get myself all situated here and get everything connected the way it's supposed to be connected.
How's that working for you?
It's it's doing good, honey. Why? You're so bad.
So, this is the verse of the day over at Bible Gateway, of course, Matthew 4:4.
I love it.
Jesus answered, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God."
Amen to that.
It's an interesting phrasing
hmm
because, we all assume that means the Bible,
Right?
but he says from every word that comes from the mouth of God.
hmm
Think about that. So, is he talking even deeper, like listening to and following the Holy Spirit? Because you
I
hear
don't
that in the
know.
mouth of God, the messenger of
That
God.
is true. That's a good
Just makes me
point.
wonder, makes me think.
Yeah, it does actually. Man shall not live on bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of God. Hmm. So, what is the mouth of God? Let's talk about that,
Well, what is the mouth of God?
right? So,
Yeah.
if we believe that it's the Holy Spirit that communes with us and that speaks to us, is that the mouth of God?
Well, that would definitely be one.
hmm
But it's also, if you are one with the Son as the Son is with the Father, you become the mouth of God. We sing
That's
about it in
true.
Christianity, you know. We are his
Well, that
hands,
was
we
going to
are
be
his
my
feet,
next
we are his
thing.
mouth, and yet we don't really own that. Very few Christians really want to buy into that and take that wholeheartedly to the bank.
hmm Right?
It's a difficult one to swallow because you got to fess up.
Right.
You got to get real.
hmm That's true. That's a very true story. But yeah,
Hi, King's Kid. Welcome.
hi, hello, hello,
Welcome,
welcome,
welcome.
welcome.
God bless you.
Yeah,
So, I've been really depressed today.
I'm sorry, I heard it in your voice earlier. What's going on?
Oh, God. The world is just going crazy. Um,
Well, it's been
if
crazy,
you
honey.
haven't heard the latest, I guess Joe Biden is going to be sending teams out to people's houses to educate them about the COVID vaccine. Sounds very much like the old days when,
Wait,
Russia,
wait, wait. Say that. Can you say that again?
yeah, they'll be sending teams out to knock on doors.
Teens, like in teenagers,
No,
teens,
teams like TEA
teens. Oh, okay, teens to
to educate
educate.
the unvaccinated about why they should get vaccinated, which is kind of
Oh,
spooky.
that's
Um,
crazy.
and then there was some talk about how they're going to be monitoring private texts so that they can find out when misinformation about the vaccines and the possible dangers of the vaccines are spoken, and they can counter it because they're wanting to fight misinformation. And frankly, I'm just like, wow, we are headed right into it, folks. I'm not big on the end times. Anybody who knows me knows that I just kind of dismiss Revelation as a book that's over my head. I've
hmm
tried to study it for a long time and never really gotten it. Hello, Rick, my
Right?
brother.
Hey, Rick.
Um, but there are definitely bad things going on, and they're going into that level of flag raising, biblical times.
Right.
Now, I don't know if we're going to get there. This could all be paranoia. Every decade or every century or so, all the Christians get all flustered. They see all the signs that they believe are in the Bible. They think they're right there in their life, and this is going to be it.
hmm
And the next century comes and goes.
Right.
So this could all be a bunch of that. But I really am concerned about a society that is going to be monitoring private text. I'm concerned about a society that's tracking the vaccination so well that they'll actually send people to your house if you haven't had it to tell you why you should get it, which is just, it's
That's kind
intimidating.
of creepy,
It's
isn't it?
intimidating.
It's
It's a
creepy.
process of intimidation. In fact, I am vaccinated, but I'm vaccinated because someone intimidated me with guilt, told me about how I was going to get their elderly mother-in-law sick because I was refusing the vaccine. Yeah, everybody says they're sorry, and that's really great. But the fact of the matter is, it's everywhere. Today on sports radio, I heard the jockeys, or whatever you want to call them, the hosts,
right,
shaming their audience and athletes for not wanting to get vaccinated. And it was really upsetting to me because as someone who got vaccinated, I understand the risks. I understood my brain matter might be eaten. I understood it might swell my heart up or do some unforeseen side effect that I'm going to have to deal with.
Right.
I also understand just as much someone not getting it because of that.
Right.
And it really irks me to hear people who have gotten vaccinated talk down to people who have chosen not to, because I really wish I hadn't. At the very moment I did it, I said, geez, Lord, I'm so sorry. Protect me. You know, because I know you can be bitten by snakes and survive, and we can drink poison and live.
Right.
Lord, I need that supernatural protection. Yeah. Brother, if they show up on our doorstep, I'm going to invite them in and start talking about Jesus just to make them leave and never come back again. Lord, forgive me. I know that's not why I should use your ministry, but I know they would never come back. Sure, come on in. Let me talk to you about the real vaccine. The Lord Jesus Christ will cleanse you. And I tell you what, you know, government types, they tend to run from religion. And if they can't shut it down, they run from it.
Right.
And I'm sorry, in my own home, I can sing all the praise to Yahshua I wish. Lord Jesus, I praise thee. But yeah, that's what got me down. I just couldn't believe it. And then I saw, so like Twitter is like a cancerous ray gun that I should probably avoid, because I saw this video today of two, I don't know what to describe them as. They were two men. One was obviously, I don't know. They didn't say if he identified as a woman or not, but they were sitting there.
Right.
And it was loud. He was allowing a baby to suckle his breast and commenting about it, going, yes, the baby can't get any milk, of course, but we are connecting and suckling, but she gets formula. And I'm like, this is perverted. It's ungodly. It's unrighteous. It's not humane.
Right.
The poor baby is being abused for the self-gratification and selfishness of someone's kink. They want to feel like a woman so bad that they're throwing obviously someone else's baby on their chest, and that just gets me all burnt out. I'm like,
right,
hey, Lord. And then I remember, you know, the end times, the days are going to be like the days of Noah. We're definitely in that mode, you know. And I'm trying not to become that guy. You know that guy, honey? Do you know the guy I mean?
But you are that guy.
But it's so, it's such a bad place to be.
Well, why are you stuck there?
Because of scripture like this. Hang on, I'm going to share this. Just because I was reading this earlier today. So if you're not familiar with 2 Timothy 3, it's a really fun chapter. People will tell you that there are challenges to it about whether or not Paul wrote it, or if it was Apocrypha or this or that.
Right.
And I will tell you, I don't care. It's in my Bible. I'm going to go ahead and read it and believe it. Let's see, hang on. Let me go back here because I'm missing some of Rick's stuff. Okay. I don't think any bonding going on. Yeah, I don't think there is either. In Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, Sodom and Gomorrah is disgusting, bro. All right. I suppose I shouldn't say that live on TV.
Too late.
But 2 Timothy 3 is like something Paul wrote that just always sticks in my head. And this, that in the last day, hard times will come. For people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, hard-hearted, unforgiving, backbiting, without self-control, brutal, hating what is good, treacherous, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God.
Mm-hmm.
To an outward form of godliness, but denying its power. Avoid these people, for among these are those who slip into households and deceive weak women, weighed down with sins, led away by various desires, always learning, yet never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Just as Janez and Jambres opposed Moses, so do these people oppose the truth. Men corrupted in mind and worthless concerning the faith.
Mm-hmm.
People will not make any more progress, for their folly, like that of Janez and Jambres, will be obvious to everyone. Now, there's a lot more, but right there, okay, are we not in the time when it's becoming obvious to everyone that we are a very wicked society, and that we are in very bad times, and we are in need with all things.
Mm-hmm.
We're in need of God and Jesus to step in.
Mm.
And I've always been one who's like, okay, Jesus, whenever you want to come, that's fine. But I'm feeling an urgency. I'm feeling like, oh my word, the world is
what is going on? Yeah, right.
And here's the thing: I've never been that much of a believer in tribulation, or what's the word? Not tribulation. Is it tribulation? Where everybody goes up, the horn sounds.
The rapture.
Thank you. I kind of am one who believes in, if there is a rapture, it's post-tribulation. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Because I think that if God allowed Christians to go through hell when it was, first through third century Roman Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
burning them on stakes and hanging them from crosses,
right,
we're not going to get any more special treatment, in my opinion.
right.
Do I hope I'm wrong? Yeah, I'd love to be raptured before the tribulation. But I honestly believe we might already be in the tribulation. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better to, thank you, Rick, you were right too. I think it's better to load up with the armor of God and be ready for battle, even
Right.
if we are going to be pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think we're getting pulled out. I think we're going to have to live through a lot of this crap before the end comes for us. And I say that because I've already seen things that I never thought I would see in America, because I thought America was a much more God-fearing country.
Right.
And maybe we were, but we've lost that in fear of being rejected, in fear of being scolded by people who don't love God, basically. That's what it comes down to. I mean, why don't people stand for God now?
Why don't they stand for him?
Damn straight.
Because, well, I can't speak for all people, but a lot of people, they don't believe in him. Their hearts aren't open, or they don't.
Well, look. Okay, so here's the problem with Christianity, and we need to find we need to pull our bootstraps up.
Mm-hmm.
Because all too often, and I think we've all been there,
Mm-hmm.
be in a crowd with a bunch of people, friends, family, relatives,
Right.
maybe even strangers. Ooh, even more scary. And somebody will say something that's not very godly, and we know it. We know it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they tell a disparaging joke about Christians, or maybe they just start, can you believe that, whatever, the kind of things they say, because we've all been in that. And we know we should say something, yet we bite our tongue, because if we're the little idiot who comes up and says, I believe in the sky daddy and I love my invisible God,
Right.
they will call you insane and cast you out as irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And this is troubling. We need to get over this and battle back. What's up, Cross Comics Rick?
Hey.
Hey! God bless you, brother. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Diana, you put the link to come in through StreamYard on Twitter?
Yeah, that's all right. They won't come.
Okay.
I actually put it in the descriptions too, or it should be in the descriptions.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not see it in the description.
Well, I added them after I posted it because I don't know what the invite is going to be, so hopefully it worked. It should have worked.
And we welcome everybody, because if they start being really disrespectful, then Chris just asks them to leave. So
Or
we
kids.
never.
I ask them accidentally by blocking them sometimes.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to go that route, but yeah, by accidentally blocking them. That's what we do.
Accidentally on purpose.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, it's always intentional, but it doesn't mean that is purposeful. My will takes over. I lose the empathy of Christ for a moment, and I say, "Be gone." And in that sense, I'm not Christ-like. So it's accidental in that sense. When I go to bed tonight, I'll apologize if I have to block somebody.
Well, Christ even.
Well, hopefully we won't have to, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you block them from coming into here. You don't block them from your chat, or whatever necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
You know, Christ called out the Pharisees and all that. He called them in that day was very mean names like bird of vipers and all, like watch white tombs,
Yeah, I wonder how bad vipers was back then. Like we think of it as a mild word, but think of like how the F word is becoming more and more common today.
Yeah.
Maybe one time it was really insulting to call somebody a viper, and now it's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's only a viper.
Yeah, those were like fighting words back then, from what I get.
Well, I would think so too. It's amazing because we read the Bible and we read it in context of our current times, and that's good in a way so that the word can come alive and speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a context to get the deeper, truer meaning of what was everything that was written.
Yeah.
And if we can grasp the context, we can get so much out of that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times if you can grasp it in the context of the culture that it was written in, it usually becomes a lot more meaningful and mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it helps a ton.
Yeah, it's just like I know for the longest time, go the second mile thing. I thought that was like your buddy or whatever. Your buddy's asking you to go the second mile. Oh, sure. Who wouldn't do that for a buddy, right?
Right.
But in those days, they had mile markers, and a Roman soldier could force somebody to go a mile out of their way. This was talking to that. Okay, if this Roman soldier makes you go a mile out of your way carrying his packages, just don't go 1 mile for him, go 2.
Yeah. Well, really, it was kind of funny because when Diana and I were doing our ministry much more feverishly, whenever we go shopping, she would buy the best of what people would want. In other words, she wouldn't get generic macaroni and cheese. She would get Kraft. She wouldn't get the dollar store brand chicken noodle soup. She'd get Campbell's. And at first, that used to always bother me because I thought it was inefficient. But when you think about what Jesus was teaching there, it's the same idea.
Yeah.
Don't just do what they're asking you to do. Go the extra mile. That's where it comes from. Go the extra mile, really, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And she always does. I tend to be a little cheap, so I thank God that she's there to straighten me out.
Little cheapskate. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well,
I don't think.
If I'm walking up and Kraft is like, $2 for $2 and the generic is like 4 for $1, I'm like, hey, but if nobody eats the generic, it's not a deal.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it comes down for something like that. It comes down to being a wise servant, being wise with your money. It's counterbalancing it. How are you going the extra mile, and maybe at the same time being wise with the money that you've gotten because you only have so much,
Right.
But
the point that I was trying to say is that oftentimes with food pantries and things like that, one of the things that we heard from many of the people that came to us is like, oh yeah, we can go to a food pantry and the food's either like expired a week, the dry goods, or it's like all this like no name brand. And I really felt God just saying, you know what, you're my daughter, just show them how much I love them. And I know it sounds crazy, like Kraft macaroni and cheese to a Market Basket brand. To me, I don't care either way. But we wanted to make sure that we were giving the best that we could give in that moment in time.
Yeah.
So
You know
I
what? It sounded
chose
crazy till I actually tried to eat some of that generic crap. And
right,
then I
and
was
I
like,
just
oh, hallelujah, because Jesus would never serve that generic crap on his table.
and I'm not faulting the food banks because obviously they have to work with what they get, and I'm not
Right,
faulting
right.
anybody that can't afford, you know, a name brand thing. I'm not, but
Yeah.
for me, it was a very personal
Well,
decision.
since we were there doing the ministry, it was so apparent to Diana where it was not to me. And
Right.
I can tell you
Yeah.
the eyes lit up when people realized they weren't getting, you know,
Like I'd buy them Wonder Bread instead of the budget brand, the
or
cheaper
Fruit Loops
bread,
instead of like, you
Yeah.
know,
the generic
Fruity
brand.
Circles. Oh,
But
what's that? I
honestly,
don't
like
know.
when my kids were all home and everything, I bought all the generic brand because I couldn't afford it. But again, I'm not dissing
Yes, Diana.
anyone or
Yeah.
yes, I'm
By
sorry.
the way, do you realize that we also have the King's Kid and Lorenzo's Feast Stack in the chat?
Yes, I see the King's Kid. That
I just want
is
to take a moment to
Rick's
say
mom,
greetings,
and
everybody. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, right. And then Lorenzo is our buddy Lorenzo. Of course, I know.
The man with the plan.
Yeah, it's me, Rick's mom.
Hey,
There, you got a mic. Woohoo!
hey, this is the first time she's been on somebody's show like this.
Wow, that's awesome.
Wow,
I
we
feel
are
honored. Thank you. So yeah, I'll stop talking now. Go ahead, honey.
No, like I think I should share the rest of Timothy 3 because it does end on an upswing.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Hang on. I have to just hit the share button over here. And then go over here.
And then over here, and there.
And then this way. All right, go for it there, bud.
So, you, however, continue in what you have learned and what you have become convinced of, for you know from whom you have learned, and that from childhood you have known the sacred writings that are able to make you wise, leading you to salvation through trusting in Messiah Yeshua, which would be Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
All scripture is inspired by God and useful for teaching and reproof and restoration and for the training in righteousness, so that the person belonging to God may be capable, fully equipped for every deed.
Every good deed.
Yes.
Thank you. I tend to read worse than I write. So you know something of interest here?
What's that?
He talks about the sacred scripture.
Mm-hmm.
And really at that time, that would have been simply your Torah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Old
And the
Testament.
writing of the prophets and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But at that time, they were exchanging letters, but I don't know if they had truly taken the level of scripture until they were canonized, you know? Like at some point, somebody realized how important they were.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that was immediately or if it took time for people to realize, you know, like a baseball card. Was it like a baseball card where when you first buy it, you might think, who's Babe Ruth, right?
Right.
But then 100 years later, it's worth $18,000 or something.
Right.
Well,
That's true.
probably at first, since it's written to a certain church, it's probably passed around among the members of that one church.
Yeah, and then they were like copying it and sending out to other churches too.
Yeah. So, but probably more around in the area. Like, you know, I don't know my geography for that area, so too well.
Yeah, well, it certainly wasn't like our time where we just posted on Twitter and my buddy in Canada and my buddy in Michigan and my buddy in Cal. You know what I mean? All the other buddies see it from all over the world. It would have taken time to get that out there.
I'm just going to use my area, for example, because I know it'd be like, you know, Paul writes a letter to the churches of the Church of Hamilton. And we copy it and we send it out to Burlington, Grimsby, Stony Creek. Now, I know that means nothing to you guys.
Well, at least the point is made, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like all these towns technically are connected to the town that we live in. They're like 15 miles away or something, but technically they're connected, so.
Okay, a municipality.
Yeah. Well, it's the municipality of Hamilton, but Burlington's its own municipality. But it's like, I guess you could say their core city. Their downtown's like 15 miles away, but literally there's a spot where you can step over the border and you're from one city to the other, and you wouldn't realize that you were, unless somebody told you, you wouldn't realize you're in a different city.
Wow.
That goes for there's from here, Hamilton to Toronto, there's 5 major cities. You literally cross the street and you're in the next city for most of them.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it on Google Maps. That's over by the Great Lakes, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I love Google Earth for that. I wonder if God does that, if he bothers to zoom out and zoom in on places. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, he's probably got a better zoom though.
But can you imagine playing the Earth like a trampoline?
It's not Google Earth. It's not Google Earth. It's God Earth.
There you go. You guys are funny.
So we've been
we've
been really blessed this week. I have to tell you, our merchandise is starting to come in.
Yeah.
The convention starts on the 29th, so everything has to come in by then. But I think we've made it.
Yep, we have. Pretty much.
I mean, we're still waiting on a few things to come in, but they should all be in plenty of time.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm working on Cluster Fudge too, which everybody here knows exactly what I say when I work on a book, but this really is better than the last stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to get too off topic, but with that said, with you bringing up comic books, did you actually watch my review for
I haven't seen it yet. I didn't know you put it out yet.
Yeah, I even tagged you on Twitter.
You know what, bro? I have been so caught up in the Cluster Fudge stuff because I got to tell you, when I get into Cluster Fudge, it gets dark. It's no wonder I came in tonight going, I'm so depressed.
Yeah.
Because I have to draw it's better than the first issue because it's not as dark. Mm-hmm. But I'm still drawing demonic figures. I'm still drawing evil characters. Because it's still in the beginning of the book. Until the light comes, it's going to be pretty dark. And I'm like, oh, God, this is so crazy.
What did I miss? What did Rick put up?
He put up a review of Cyclopean.
Oh, he did? Why didn't I see that? Oh, my God.
I'm pretty sure I tagged you. I'm pretty sure I tagged both of you.
We suck. Diana, we suck.
No.
Was it any good? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll check it out for sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look. Is it on the Odyssey or the YouTube?
YouTube.
Cool.
All right.
We will check it out right after we're done God Check because we love reviews. The funny thing is, Well Read, I think it was, said that they offer the creators an opportunity to be there as their book is reviewed, but I like just getting reviews off the cuff. I don't like being there to influence them in any way.
Yeah, or if they really don't have good things to say, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah. If people don't have good things to say, that's actually almost sometimes a better review. Because as long as they give me reasons for not liking this or that or the other thing, right. I can work on those,
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, I did do you both in there on the 8th.
On the 8th. Why didn't I see that? I'm looking at the Twitter right now and I don't see the message. Huh.
Go click your notifications.
Oh, maybe that's it. Okay, let me see.
Diana.
What?
I can't believe we missed it.
God, I know. I feel like an idiot now.
Yeah, you idiot.
Oh.
See you later, Richard. Okay, later.
I see it. I see it.
Yeah, see ya.
Oh,
Oh, there it is.
I got it.
Did you find it?
I did.
Okay. I'm sorry. My humblest apologies, young man.
Yeah, you're fired.
No problem.
I'm fired again. See, I'm always
firing you, bro.
fired.
And I just put the link to it in the chat too for anybody who
Oh,
wants.
good. Oh, thank you. Let me grab it.
Yeah, number 2. I've already finished number 2, thankfully. So now it's on to like working on Cluster Fudge, and I can't open up a crowdfunder on Kickstarter till we fulfill number 1.
Yeah.
Which was weird because I tried to go in for a mailing list, and they wouldn't even let me start the mailing list until the other one is finished. So I'm like, okay, that's.
I have it ready to go. So when we're done, God Chat, that's what I'm going to watch next. I mean,
speaking of God, did you guys just say goodbye to somebody?
No. Yeah, me and my mom were saying our friend Dave.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody disappeared from the panel or the chat, and like looking around and like, it looks like everybody's still here.
No, he left our actual place.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was on like Facebook because I'm looking at the YouTube chat and it's multi-streaming, I think.
Yeah, the YouTube chat and Facebook are connected. Even though it does it rather poorly.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't know. Sometimes Facebook doesn't seem to get the messages that YouTube does, and
yeah, I feel bad for my viewers on Facebook and Twitch because I don't really have any control. I don't have the right programs or whatever for those. So when I'm streaming, I just use StreamYard and I use YouTube, and I just hope. People
well, in theory, it does it, and like the only way we can do anything with it is to like run tabs on the side. But those
I keep a tab open sometimes for YouTube. Occasionally, I don't always keep it open because I only have 4 gigs of RAM on this Chromebook, so that's not really enough to have multiple tabs open.
You only have 4. You only have 4 gigs of RAM on that Chromebook.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's amazing, I've been watching a lot of retro games and computer videos while I draw.
Oh,
4 gigs of RAM is so huge compared to what they used just 20 years ago.
Yeah, I actually do have more than one tab open, but it gets kind of a problem if I'm trying to play a video and then try to stream it. I think that's when I have the problem. But I can actually have a couple of videos open and watching 2 shows at one time, and it does
on the model you have,
okay.
The processor oftentimes in Chrome it does fine, but when you try to overtax it, it shows it just kind of goes crazy. We use them in school, and we do multiple like Google Meets and stuff with 20 people in them and stuff. Oh.
I thought you had like maybe 100 people in there, and I was like, well, I can see that.
No. Well, that's because these Chromebooks are actually like 5-6 years old. They're almost out of service.
Oh, so even having 20 is a...
Yeah, well, some of them only have 2 gigs of RAM, if you can remember those days.
Oh. Yeah, this was a 250 one, I think. I got it on sale.
Right.
Like maybe $50 off or something.
Yeah.
It's got I can flip the monitor a little bit, but if I do that too much, it messes up the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like I think I've maybe damaged my monitor from bending it to, because it's supposed to be, you can fold it over a little bit and like fold over the keyboard.
Yeah, like the touchscreen type deal.
Yeah, you get like an on-screen keyboard. If you turn the keyboard upside down, you get you know what I mean?
Right. Yep. I know exactly what.
But the thing is, I think I went and tried to use it like a tablet or something, and ended up screwing it up one time.
The ones we use don't even have touchscreens. So yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hardware
the
looks
touchscreen
220.
comes in handy too, because some of the things are still kind of like Android, where it really does require touchscreen, and then some of the time it won't work with touchscreen, and I have to use the trackpad, and I can never keep track of what, or I often forget, well, which one's which. And so I'll try to do something during the show, when I'm live streaming, and I'll do it the wrong way. And it's like, no, I need to do that with a touchpad, or no, I need to do it with the, touch screen. And then people wonder why I'm so inept with computers. Well, it's I'm not really. I'm still getting used to the Chromebook after having it for a year.
But you're not inept. It's the hardware just underperforming for you.
Well, it's just that some things they'll try to do with touchscreen, and it just doesn't seem to work very well. Like I can't think of an example, but so and then there's some things that just won't work with a trackpad, and I have to use it has to do with certain things that I don't know, moving around things on the screen or something. I don't know, like maybe certain I don't know,
or harder using a trackpad.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered a mouse? Like, can you plug in a mouse and see if that works?
That'd probably be too good. That probably would solve the entire problem. That would be a good idea.
I can't
do that for a lot of the kids that have issues, but
I just don't always have like a flat surface for a mouse pad. Otherwise, I'd use it.
What you probably do? I think you can get them cheap. Just get an optical mouse.
Yeah,
but the thing is, I don't have like a flat surface to put the.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying you don't need a mouse pad. With an optical mouse, you don't need a lot of surface, I would say.
Yeah, but even if I'm sitting on the couch, it's kind of the couch.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
Yeah. So that's the problem. Otherwise.
Right.
Like if I was at a table, I definitely would be using. Well, I don't know. Definitely.
Well, the thing
I would be using it some of the time, probably.
Yeah. Well, if you get it, that's the thing is you can use it or not use it. Depending on where you are.
I like those track balls that they used to. People used to use. I don't know if they still make them, but.
Oh, I do not like track balls.
Yeah, the had. There were some for some of the older Macs before they changed like formats several times as far as like I don't know, they might be using USB, some sort of USB now, but before that they used ADB ports.
Yeah, they're all USB
before
now.
Before ADB they had something else that they used with the very first Macs.
Well, I can tell you like a lot of things now are used for special needs, like trackballs. You don't see a lot of them in the field, but special needs kids that can't grasp the mouse and stuff, they work really well with them.
That was really cool. It was really good really handy for the game Crystal Quest. I don't know if you've ever played it.
Oh yeah,
it was really good. The Mac version was excellent, but they've ported it to other systems since then. I think I have it on the Xbox. Maybe
I think I played that one in the arcade.
Oh, really? I didn't even know.
Yeah, and they had a trackball like Missile Command.
Oh, wow. So I guess I wasn't the only one using trackball with that game, because that was excellent. That was like the ideal manner as far as I'm concerned, playing that game. It's always difficult getting that. There's like this little portal or something. You had to get this little, like this. It was kind of like a hockey puck or something, and you had to get it through the goal or whatever. And you had all these little monsters.
I might be thinking of something else too. There was another one where you were like a little teddy bear thing running around.
Oh, really? Well, this is like almost like a hockey puck, and there were like these little mines, and then there were these little monsters. I think they were called nasties, and they were trying to kill a character before you can get the character to the kind of the goal, or kind of like in hockey. There's a goal there, or it's almost like maybe a little portal or something.
Right.
though, in a way, because it would take you to and take your character to another screen.
Huh.
I think you had to. Oh, I know. You had to collect a bunch of things too. You had to go collect. I think you had to collect a bunch of different, like in Pac-Man, where you'd go around and collect all those little pellets.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Yes, this was not the game I thought, but yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's still one of my favorite games. I don't think I could ever. I can't get that to work right in an emulator though.
No.
Nah.
Wait, do you use it like? Do you use one of the home versions or?
What do you mean?
So, like, do you go after arcade versions of the games, or do you emulate?
Oh, just the Mac version.
Ah.
The trackpad on here doesn't work very well with that game, and this wasn't made for like a trackpad or.
Right. I hear another voice, and I think it's mine, but I don't know where it is.
I hear another voice too. Do you have something running?
Do
you have the YouTube video running?
No, let me see it. I think I might have found it. Hang on. I think I did. I
Okay.
think I killed it.
Yeah. No, I still hear it.
Okay, hang on.
Is somebody listening on speakers?
Tell me if you can hear it in a second, like now.
Yeah.
So I'm muted, so I don't care. It doesn't bother me, but I just want to make sure it wasn't me.
Mom, make sure yours is muted. This is her
Your
first
poor
time.
mom.
Don't worry about it, Mom. It's just a little buzz. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't me, because then everybody goes, "Hey, Chris, shut up." The game I was thinking of was Crystal Castles.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, that's an old classic.
I was hearing a bunch of stuff,
Oh,
so I muted it.
Oh, okay. That's not you.
huh?
It could just be StreamYard screwing up too. Yeah, you used a trackball and had to run these little mazes and jump up to the other levels. I think they have the arcade version somewhere in here. Let's see.
Oh, wow, that does look like fun.
That's a Atari 2600, I think. Crystal Castle. That's a computer version.
Yeah, I used to have so I think I still have an Atari 400, which there was also the Atari 800 and eventually the 800 XL.
Yeah, it's a shame that Atari got beat up. They kind of left. Commodore 64.
Well, the
around,
400 and 800, I think 800 XL, those had better graphics than the 2600. I mean, by quite a bit. I mean, it would seem like the games were, like the Pac-Man game was a lot closer to the arcade. It wasn't the exact look and sound, but it was pretty close. And
Right.
it was only made, I think, just, a few years later. I think the Atari 400 came out in the 70s. But I got it in the early 80s. I believe.
Well, I enjoy emulating. I was thinking about doing a show with emulation reviews, but there's so many of them,
I'm having a hard time. I can't figure out a controller that'll work with this Chromebook. Every time I buy one, thinking it's going to work, it doesn't.
Hmm.
I
I'm
think
on
they're
a Mac, and I use I can use the PS4 controller or my Wii Pro controller, which is what I ended up using.
Yeah, I think it's easier to have something a little. I don't know if the Chromebook is quite standard. I mean, I think if somebody had Android, they might even have better luck than with a Chromebook, because I think it's just kind of it's. I mean, I think it's pretty darn good, but it's still kind of a little like non-standard or something.
Right.
I mean, they're still trying to work out the kinks, but it's pretty incredible. I'm impressed by. I was able to run Linux on the Chromebook, and then I was able. I mean, just like a feature built into Chrome OS allows you to run Linux, and I was able to run Steam in Linux. And not only was I able to run Steam in Linux, I was able to use this Proton program to run Windows. To run certain Windows programs,
Right,
on Steam, and Linux, and Chrome OS on
all
this
through
4 gig
emulation.
Chromebook, and I was able to actually play like what they call them, like a light novel or one of those visual novels,
Right.
and I was actually able to play a Windows game. It was like, it's just one of those where you read the story. And
I know I was using it, the Android thing, to play Mine Test, which isn't Minecraft but similar. And yeah, it worked very well. But the Chromebooks, you got to have them in dev mode and have all that stuff running, and the processor, if you're not careful, will get really bogged down. At least for us, with the kids and stuff. So we always had to watch for that.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with that I was able to go and play, very like simple, like these visual or I guess they call them light novels or whatever, but that I could play one that was actually made for Windows, and I was playing it in Linux,
Right.
on with a Steam app, and then on this 4 gig Chromebook. I don't know how I was able to do that without bogging it down. Now, if I tried a more like a more complex Windows game, I don't think the RAM, it's not enough RAM. I don't think. But I thought it was pretty cool. And I can play like some of the older Linux games. I think I've been able to get to work on here.
So, honey.
Yeah.
Do you have any godly stuff to share tonight?
Well, we were talking about Timothy, and then he got sidetracked on games. And I don't know. Why don't you ask the people here if anybody wants to share anything, or
okay? Does anybody want to share anything, or what?
Or just, I don't know. I mean, why do you put it on me like that? You make me crazy.
The co-host.
I know, but I was listening to the video.
Hey, did you hear? Did you hear the opening video? I played something.
Yes, I did hear that. I thought Rabbi Peter's show was coming on.
I love the shofar.
Okay. Thank
Will you please stop the bracket? I'm trying to sleep.
Well,
at least it was during the middle of the day, though.
Shofar, so good.
Yeah. I just always loved the Messianic church that we go to when we go, there's always someone there with a shofar, and in the middle of worship, you'll hear a and it's so cool.
I thought it was like once a year that it's used.
Oh, heck no. They use it all the time in worship.
Well, I thought it was, it was used like, I don't know, Rosh Hashanah or some sort of.
Oh, there's definitely formal usage of it.
Oh, okay.
They're quite liberal when it comes to worship. They'll pull those out and flags and dance and sing in Hebrew. And I have to learn Hebrew, but I don't know Hebrew.
It's just like their trumpet.
Yeah, it really is. But it kind of feels really cool when you hear it. It's like, oh, wow. It's almost like a call to arms.
Isn't it like a bull's horn?
Yeah, it's a ram's horn, I believe.
That's what. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting to hear that in person. The actual, because that would. Yeah, I'm sure like a YouTube video is not going to quite do it justice.
Oh no, if it's live, it's way better. But it always gets me excited regardless. I always get into it.
And that's what those trumps in the Book of Revelation are, right? They're not just like.
Well, more than likely, because the English translation kind of defines them as trumps, but really they're probably shofars. They gotta be.
Yeah, they probably, and then in Greek they're like, oh, well, just call it a trumpet because that's all we, that's the closest thing we have, or whatever they call it in Greek.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt
don't
they
even know
actually.
what it was in Greek, but
Yeah, they probably don't have the. It's,
well, I
I
think
doubt
the trumpet part
the
was
Greek
kind of
has the
born
word
of English.
shofar.
I don't know. I can't be sure.
Yeah, I mean nowadays it could have been borrowed into Greek, but probably when was it the Book of Revelation or Apocalypse of John when that was written?
Yeah, whatever we're gonna.
They probably just translated whatever was the closest like instrument.
Well, and it's kind of like a harp of David's harp and all that stuff. Like it, they're not really harps in the sense that we might think of a harp.
Yeah, it's not a Western European. It's some sort of lyre instrument.
Yeah, and it's a stringed instrument if I'm not mistaken, but it's not as refined as we think of when we think of stringed instruments.
Yeah, it's
nevertheless
a much earlier instrument too. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't know, maybe it very well could be it could be or might not be, the harp that in the West could possibly be related, but just greatly modified, but I'm not sure.
I wouldn't want to like start telling people that, but
I mean, if it was, it's been changed. Like even the instruments we have nowadays are different than like in the medieval time. Like I heard this, some people were playing. There was a Sephardic, this Judeo-Spanish song, and it was like the people playing it. They're using instruments based on actual museum pieces, like museum models. So it has just a different sound because they used to make them differently back in the Middle Ages, and there's people trying to recreate them. That doesn't mean that all Sephardic music is played on those instruments,
Right.
Most of the time probably isn't, but I've heard, contemporary instruments used too. The ones I don't even know the word for,
Yeah, well, these days they're even with technology, they're coming out with new instruments, but they're just not working on the same way. They're basically keyboards with fancy input.
It's interesting though.
We'll see what technology comes up with. They're always,
cultivating. It's interesting though how Jewish music just keeps, how there's been a big revival in like say Sephardic music and klezmer, and then there's like a lot of people confuse Sephardim with what do they call it, Mizrahi? The Middle Eastern Jews. They practice because they're similar to how the Sephardic or Jewish Spanish people practice Judaism, but they're actually have different cultural. There's a bunch of different types of Jewish people. I'm not an expert.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's kind of like the same thing in Messianic. It's a form of Judaism, and yet the Jews would tell you they're not Jewish. And so it's weird.
Yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that I've heard different things like there'll be like preachers going, and like trying to, of like Messianic Judaism, trying to convert people in Israel. There's also people who are extremists from like some like I'm not even say which Jewish denominations, of non-Messianic, Judaism. Right. I'm not gonna say, well, this denomination or that, because it's just a small number of extremists. But I heard of like a Messianic Jewish synagogue being like maybe firebombed in Israel.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
I mean, yeah, it's just, but then there's like, there's
Really,
I wanna-
historically,
yeah,
there's been nothing more divisive than religion. You know.
yeah. I mean, there's plenty of attacks on like non-messianic I've heard there's a lot of hate crimes, kind of strange, kind of modern concept, I think. But there are a lot of like attacks on like synagogues.
Yeah, yeah.
And there are like I mean I hear that there's quite a few, or a lot. I'm hearing like a lot of what I'm hearing about a lot is like different like threats, like death threats or things like that, where people call up like some
here in New England,
Jewish organizations.
New England's had quite a few physical attacks on Jewish monuments and synagogues, and they've actually had a couple of killings up here too, I believe.
Yeah, that's just completely. This seems completely mind-boggling to me because that.
Well, these days people are kind of not really. I don't know. That's why I get frustrated. It's not really happening the way it used to. It's like there's a level of disrespect and a level of disdain for life and just an attitude. Like if you're mad enough and you have your reasons, you can justify anything now. And it's like no. You still have to be. You still have to be civilized. You should still follow the Lord. You should still be, peace. Make peace so long as it relies on you. And yet we're all, well, maybe not all of us, but the world, and if not the world, the nation seems to be melting.
It seems like this has always been like a big issue with countries like. You think about, like, say, the pogroms and what is it, like Russia, like Tsarist Russia,
right?
Or the Holocaust, or like segregation or apartheid. It seems like all these things are quite common, and
it never seems to change either.
Yeah, it seems like things might get better for a while, and then, or it might get better for certain ways. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think like, say, maybe Irish and Italian people have really been able to kind of move up since like the 1800s in America.
Well, it's funny because I never thought of them as anything but white people. You know what I mean? Like they're from a country, but they're really Caucasian, and yet I know what you mean. They've gone through, a lot of persecution in their time.
Yeah, see, but I guess that I think Irish and Italian people were considered white, but they were kind of still kind of down the kind of the social hierarchy when in the 1800s when.
Yeah, you're right. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and so, but it seemed like somehow, well, it seemed like that would be an interesting thing to look into is how, I think a lot of Irish people end up becoming like mayors and police officers and.
Oh, I don't know, but it's quite possible. It would behoove them to do that, right?
Well, I mean, that might be a way. That might be a way that some people, somebody was like from us. It's like, I don't know. I gotta be. Wow, this whole thing could get us canceled. This whole conversation.
Why?
But it does seem like certain ethnic groups can maybe find some sort of niche, and and then after a while it becomes like a stereotype or something. But like, if one person from like. Certain.
That's why we gotta go over to Rumble. It's Canadian.
Yeah, well, they don't have live there yet, Mother.
But doesn't Canada have all sorts of hate laws? Like, I mean,
what, Canada?
Hate speech laws and stuff.
Which country?
Like you say, Canada. Like you say the wrong word, you go to jail or something.
I've read things that say like Christian pastors are getting busted for preaching against homosexuality and stuff. I don't know how true all of that is. I'm not Canadian, and honestly, when I read stuff from foreign countries, I always take it with a grain of salt because I don't know who's actually reporting and what they're saying. I don't know how true it is.
Well, yeah, Jordan Peterson claimed that it would be illegal to misgender people in a certain area, but I don't know of anybody getting arrested for that. And where was it, Ontario?
Yeah, they were making laws that would be like that. I'm not sure whether that was just Ontario or whether it would be, the whole country.
I wonder if maybe he misunderstood the exact situation with the law. Like,
no, with the law, and actually, I think a couple people have gotten in trouble for misgendering here in Canada because of that law. I'm not 100% sure. But I think I've heard of it, but I can't be pretty sure. But Chris, as for a good source for some stuff, Canadian is Rebel News.
Okay.
Which you can find on YouTube. They're usually pretty trustworthy for what they share.
It's very biased towards the right, though. They're not gonna lie about it either. I don't think. I think they admit that they're conservatives.
Yeah, they do. But at the same time,
as long as you know the bias.
Yeah, but at the same time, they do try and, as much as they're a little biased towards the right, the conservative, they do try and tell an objective story. Too. They ask. I would say legitimate questions, when they can ask stuff, Yeah.
I've seen some stuff where it seemed like they're just shoving a camera in people's faces and they're acting like, I'm not saying everybody on there who's just, it is like acting like somebody's just completely, when they tell the person to, F off or whatever. It's like, well, I'd do that if somebody just kept, following me around when I was like on my own property, and
but most of the time it's not somebody. Most of the time it's not somebody on their own property. Usually they're out in like City Hall or whatever.
Well, this is like somebody's like in an apartment complex, so it's not really just only their property. Belongs. It's like their landlords, and then. Then there's all these people living there, not just them. It was what it was. I think it was Rebel News, but it was something where it was a person who was going around claiming to be trans, but using that to sue people. Like,
Jennifer,
and I think maybe that was the person I saw. Like being. It's like, well, maybe this, or maybe I'm confusing that with some other thing I saw where. Like, okay, maybe this cameraman's getting a little too close, or this interviewer, I've seen some stuff kind of like that where
could have been the COVID jails.
No, but he's talking Yaniv, Jessica Yaniv or whatever.
So I can't remember if it was with that person where or maybe I'm thinking, or I might be remembering a couple different incidents where it seemed like seems like they do a lot of reporting where the reporters are kind of confrontational, and that would be like my main objection, I guess.
Well,
and sometimes that's necessary, though.
Yeah, they're trying to get a story, like most things, and they're asking, say this trans person, they're asking the person a question, about their court case or whatever.
Yeah.
The person obviously doesn't have has a right not to answer, but them being reporters, they have a right to ask the questions too.
My only thing was it seemed like they just wouldn't leave after they were told to leave, that sort of thing. Now, if they sat down for an interview, like if it was a sit-down interview, and then they started asking tough questions, that's an interviewer. Yeah. That's right, But if you're just yelling at somebody, yelling questions at somebody outside of their house, or even outside of a courtroom, and then somebody stuffing a camera in their face, it might not be, maybe.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be surprised if somebody goes and smacks the camera, even if that's assault. I'm not defending and not saying that's right. It's just.
But up until like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, you would actually have reporters from the States do that. It's
Oh no, I don't like it when people. Oh, we do that. We probably do that far more than Canadians do.
But
I haven't seen Canadians do that very often, actually.
It's actually a standard practice, I think. It's called a skirmish or whatever. Just trying to get sound bites or whatever, for lack of a better way.
Well, isn't that what Princess Diana ended up getting?
Hi. I'm saying hello to Dillard Draws and Mrs. Dillard Draws.
Hi.
Yeah.
You guys were like on a roll, and I'm like, I'm waiting to break in, but I just said, I gotta say hello.
I see John and his wife.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are you today,
see John? Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting channel. Worth checking out to see if you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Rebel News or Rebel Media.
The Rebel News now.
Okay. Yeah, because I used to watch it when Lauren Southern on and Gavin McInnes. We were talking about that the other a week or two ago.
Yeah. And Dylan agreed with you about something. Well.
So,
but back to the God chat.
Yeah.
Whatever topic we were on.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, we all got off topic.
Derailing it.
So, did you hear the Pope had surgery?
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a joke?
No.
I thought there was going to be some sort of joke in there.
He really.
Oh no.
He really did have surgery.
Oh, that's not fun.
No.
Well, he made it though. He made his first public appearance today, from what I understand. Since the
True enough. That is true.
Did he see a shadow?
No, there's going to be 8 more weeks of summer.
That's so bad. Oh my gosh. Did he see his shadow?
Well, I'm thinking of groundhogs.
Did you see his shadow? That's funny.
I don't know about the, he's got some, he definitely says some interesting things.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
He's definitely a bit controversial.
Yeah.
The whole world is controversial. I can't even, every time I turn around, there's something else that's going on.
Chuck Norris is controversial.
Oh, crazy. It's crazy.
What about Chuck Norris?
He's not controversial. He's cool.
Oh, don't you remember the time he was at the I don't know if it's a Republican National Convention, and he was talking to that stool. There was a stool sitting in there, and he was just talking to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit controversial, and I don't even remember what he was saying.
Well, the thing with Chuck Norris is he had kidney stones. He passed them, all 5 of them. And then Thanos collected them and did the snap.
Remember all those Chuck Norris memes from back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
That was a good time to be alive.
Well, what do people think of the new Walker? Have you guys watched it?
The new what?
Walker.
No, I haven't seen it.
So isn't he in his 80s or something? Or
yeah, well, he's not starring.
Probably not.
Hi, Mrs. Dillard.
Oh,
It's a whole new,
Mrs. Dillard.
A whole new Ranger, right?
Yeah, a whole new person called Walker.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking that we might need a Walker,
Texas Walker Ranger with the Walker.
And no offense, because I'm just saying, even in my 40s, I have a hard time getting around, But there's plenty older people don't. I'm just trying to figure out how you do all those martial arts moves, though. That was the thing.
Well, he was a martial artist.
Yeah, but isn't he? people don't. Not everybody's as flexible when they.
Yeah,
No,
well,
but
he
Chuck Norris is
probably
very
did.
flexible.
He was probably regularly exercising and all that, doing the moves and all that.
Yeah, but
I
like,
can't see him having. He
Well,
kept
plus
himself
he's more than a
limber.
mere mortal. He has the blood of.
he's 81 years old, so
Yeah,
if
and it looks like he's
I have a hard time. I have a hard time even like walking on certain days because of arthritis. No, he might not have arthritis though. But I'm saying he's 81. I'm not sure if he could like do one of those round kicks so easily.
Yeah, but you never got to fight Bruce Lee.
Did he? What, he didn't, or he did?
I said you never did. He's more flexible because he fought Bruce Lee in that movie.
But Bruce Lee's. Well, when did Bruce Lee die? Was it in the 80s?
I think it was actually late 60s, early 70s.
No, it was either late 70s or early 80s.
I type in Bruce Lee, and I accidentally only type in the Bruce part, and Wikipedia has an entry on for Bruce. It doesn't have enough citations. That's what it says on there. There's not enough citations for Bruce for it to be an accurate entry, I guess.
Hang on, he died.
Oh, he was from 1940 as well.
Yeah.
73. Yeah, he died before I was born. Gosh.
Oh, died the year I was born then. I thought it was later. I thought he died when I was alive.
Yeah, I thought he lasted until the 80s or something then. So what happened with him? Like, I guess that's a controversial topic.
Oh yeah.
And then his son, that was so bizarre.
I would have thought that was a movie stunt, but he hasn't shown up yet, so it's not a good one.
Yeah, so with his son, was it Brandon Lee? He was on stuff for was it called The Raven and
The Crow?
The Crow. That's what it was called. And it was what they were able to finish the movie even though he died.
Well, I guess he had most of the shots done, but like the hardest part,
it just all seems kind of weird. The more people describe it, the more suspicious it gets.
Well, like his sound, they had to capture some of the sound from the test reels because he couldn't go into the studio and do the overdub. So like some of the sounds you hear are a little different than what you'd normally hear out of the high quality movies.
Oh, okay.
And that's why they had to use like the boom mics and crap mics and stuff.
Interesting. So there was a scene and it was supposed to be a blank in the gun, and it had what turned out to be live ammo. Is that the story? The official story?
Scenario. I don't know what really happened.
Wow.
Are you reading from Wikipedia, Lorenzo?
No. I'm just remembering what I had heard.
Whatever happened, though, it totally mystified that movie because I remember when it came out, we were all like, wow, this is the one. The guy's dead. We got to check this out. Kind of the same thing happened with Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
With the Joker. With the Joker on Batman.
Performance got celebrated in part because he died. He was dead.
Yeah, I thought he did an excellent role. I mean, it seemed a perfect thing especially after 9/11. And
I thought he was great till I saw Joaquin Phoenix. Is that his name?
Yeah.
The Last Joker. I thought the Last Joker.
Oh yeah, I didn't get a chance to go and see that at the theater. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, I seen that in theaters. I actually did a picture of it. I did a picture of that too, of him on the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you drew him. I thought you said you threw up. It's like, wow, that's really dark. If you threw up, must have been a real dark movie. Yeah, that looks like it would be an excellent film. And I remember there were people bad mouthing it before it even came out. It's like, I don't know, this looks quite good to me. But it looked more like an art film than it looked than a typical DC movie or.
Well, it certainly wasn't that, right? I mean, it was hardcore.
Yeah, I liked the movie overall. It was just I think I was a bit iffy on whether I liked it as a Joker movie, him as the Joker and all that. I'm not sure whether it quite fit in that realm, but it was a great movie. Great actor.
I think one of the criticisms that made sense to me, again, I didn't see the movie, so the thing with the Joker is that people didn't know for sure what his origin was, and I think some concern people had was that this would, just having an origin story. Where wasn't there? Was it? I can't remember which Batman book it was, but I've heard, and I haven't read it, but I heard that there were there's one where the Joker has there's several different possible origins presented, but only Batman gets to see which one's the real one or something.
The three Jokers.
I haven't seen that, but his origins are multiple. He's got multiple origins, and trusting him is impossible. He'll weave a tale in front of you and just ha ha ha,
But then again, if it's in a movie, it's probably just one universe. So, it might
he will deliberately lie.
Yeah.
Like I forget, I don't know if it was the Heath Ledger one or the first one where he was in the first Batman, but somewhere he tells like two different aspects.
I think he did with
the Heath Ledger one.
I thought he did that with who's the first, not the very first Batman movie ever, but the one from the 80s with Michael Keaton.
Right.
Yeah,
I thought maybe he had most. I thought he was lying in there as well about things. But no, I don't know. But because didn't he fall into a vat of acid? No, that was yeah.
They showed them falling in a vat of acid or the chemical, whatever.
Oh, I know what it was. I know what he did. I think he said a line that was the same line that Michael Keaton Batman heard when his dad was killed, right?
Yeah. They had that. They were having the Joker be the guy that killed Bruce's parents.
And so it wasn't that he. Okay, so that was the deal with it. Confusing thing. So it was in the Dark Knight where he's giving like multiple origins, but in the
Have you ever danced with the devil on a pale blue moonlight or something?
Yeah. That was okay. Yeah, he was being manipulated. Well, he was messing with Batman's head, but it was in a different way. It was a reference to his parents being killed.
Right.
Yeah, but the Joker didn't know that.
Did that mean that the Joker was responsible, or that he knew, or
no?
No,
they were trying to say the Joker killed his parents. Well, before he was the Joker.
Yeah, that's what the impression I got.
Meanwhile,
or either that or he wanted Batman to think that for some reason. But
no, because that Joker didn't know that Batman was Bruce Wayne, so he wouldn't know about that.
Hey guys, it's 10 of 10 and I'm exhausted. I need to go. Chris, don't be mad at me. I was trying to get your attention, but it didn't work. He usually lets me know. I'll stop already. But no, I'm really tired. I've got to get up early in the morning. So I am going to bid thee farewell. And I am going to take an extra 10 minutes to check out Rick's review of the book because I told him I would.
All right. Wait, then I got to go too because I got to watch it at the same time.
Well, I'm impressed that you lasted until 10.
That's all right.
Didn't you used to leave around 9:30?
Yeah, we've been on a while for what we normally do.
Yeah, we usually leave at 9:30.
Yeah. The last few weeks they seem to have been going to 10 or just after.
Yeah. I've been quite pleasantly surprised.
So is the Thursday show still kind of in a hiatus?
Yeah. I wanna. The thing is, it's really hard to. It seemed like it was. So I haven't been feeling all that well, and then also it's kind of difficult because I'd be kind of waiting till you know how it is. Like you never know who's going to show up and who's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thinking maybe have things a little more spontaneous sometimes, and then maybe some other times maybe some creator might want to come on, but they might not always be able to make it on like on a Thursday. It seemed like Thursdays were kind of a bad night.
And there's been a lot of competition lately.
Huh?
A lot of streaming competition lately.
Yeah. So as soon as I'd go live, there'd be like a bunch of other streams, and there'd be streams going on that I'd want to watch. So there are multiple things going on. Plus I just haven't been feeling well lately for whatever reason. I don't quite know why. And it was kind of exhausting, even because I really did enjoy going for a while and having some longer conversations and stuff. It's just like it takes a lot of energy out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It does. You're right.
Yeah, we go through it too. I know exactly what you mean.
That's why I'm saying good night, because I'm exhausted. And I haven't even really talked that much tonight, but I'm just tired. It's just
that's understandable. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say good night, Diana.
Good night.
God bless.
Thank you. God bless you too,
God
sweetie.
bless.
Thanks for
Good
joining
night.
us. All right, guys. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna go too, guys. But if you spontaneously launch a chat, let us know.
Oh yeah, and then please subscribe to Cross Comics channel and subscribe to was it Hero Shack? What's the name of this channel?
This is God Chat.
Yeah,
no, the name of the channel is it Hero Shack or is it?
No, he's
Chris
asking
Hero
about
Shack?
my channel, honey. It's actually Chris T Hero Shack. Yeah.
Okay, and then please also subscribe to Lorenzo Sleestack channel.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because I do plan on streaming. I just want to make sure these are really fun. Just want to have a lot of fun. Make sure the people in the chat have fun.
Exactly.
And the viewers who aren't in the chat.
And I will be on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome.
And then Rick hosts a fun show.
Mm-hmm.
And was it so? Is this on? It's the YouTube one, right?
Yeah.
And then is it Thursday nights when you
host
it on
Odyssey?
Odyssey, yeah.
Yep.
Right.
I've heard of. I might. I'll eventually have to get an account there. So,
all right, guys. So we love you, and we will talk to you next week for sure. Wednesday night and tomorrow night at Rick's.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go
Sounds
watch.
good.
I'm gonna go watch a video.
All right.
Yeah, I
God
probably
bless
should
you
get
guys.
going myself.
Good night.
Have a good night.